The threat around the Zaporizhzhia Nuclear Power Plant is far from over, and according to the reports that are emerging, Russia has allegedly asked the Zaporizhzhia Nuclear Power Plant workers not to show up to work today. And this comes amidst allegations and speculation from both Russia and Ukraine that an incident is in fact being planned on Friday, that is today, at the plant. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry's Intelligence Directorate reportedly claimed that Russia has told its employees, including those from Rosatom, the Russian nuclear agency, to not report for work, as Moscow is preparing a large-scale provocation at the nuclear power plant. Now, this, of course, is the claim by the Ukrainians. Russia, for its part, has neither denied nor confirmed the presence of any Rosatom personnel at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. However, Moscow too has leveled similar accusations against Kyiv, claiming that the Ukrainian forces were mulling on provocative acts just ahead of the United Nations mission's visit.
The Kyiv regime is preparing a resident provocation at Zaporizhzhia Nuclear Power Plant during the visit of UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres to Ukraine. As the result, the Russian Federation would be blamed of creation of a technogenic disaster at the power plant.
Now, the speculations and allegations of an incident being planned on Friday, that is today, at the nuclear power plant from both the sides coincide with Russia's threat to shut down the plant, warning that there is a risk of a human-made disaster amidst alleged continued shelling by Ukraine. It is not clear as to how the plant will be shut down, but Russian authorities reportedly have said that the two of the plant's 6 units may be put into cold reserve. Trading charges is not new for Russia and Ukraine, and both sides have been playing the blame game ever since Europe's largest nuclear power plant was occupied by the Russian troops early in the month of March. Now, Kyiv has been urging the global leaders to pressurize Kremlin to vacate the nuclear site. Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant accounts for almost about 1/5 of Ukraine's annual electricity production, and it is the largest nuclear facility to come under attack. The strikes at the plant are a reminder of the horrors of a possible tragedy like what unfolded at Chernobyl. All right, now to give us more insights in terms of what's exactly happening at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant at this point of time, we're being joined by William Bishop, who's a journalist, and he's joining us live from Mykolaiv. Now, let me begin by asking you this. There are reports that Russia has asked its workers not to report for work today. Now, Mr. Bishop, what exactly is the current situation around the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant at this point of time? Is there anything that can be confirmed over this?
Yes, well, unfortunately, there is nothing that can be confirmed. As you indicated, there are reports originating from the Ukrainian Military Intelligence Directorate that Russia had asked the workers of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant to stay home. Those workers have been continuing to work and operate the plant since Russia took over the plant with its military in early March. There's about 10,000 employees at the plant, and the number of Russian employees at the plant is not entirely clear. The context of this, of course, is that the plant supplies power to Ukraine. It's one of the largest power plants in Europe, and the energy that it produces continues to supply Ukrainian homes. Russia has been trying to find a way to reroute that energy to supply occupied territories in the south of Ukraine and in Crimea.
Right. Now, interesting. Now, Mr. Bishop, the fact is the allegations and counter-allegations have been going on for more than a couple of weeks. The question that I want to ask you is, if it is the Russian soldiers who have occupied the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant, then what sense does it make for the Russians to be shelling a nuclear plant that they occupy, as the Ukrainians claim?
Indeed, that is exactly the question that everyone is asking at the moment. According to the Ukrainian military sources that I have talked to, what Russia has been doing, it has been targeting key infrastructure that's actually responsible for transferring the power produced by the reactors to the power grid in Ukraine. There's no question, one thing that both sides agree on is that Ukraine remains in control of the western side of the Dnieper River, which is where the power plant is located. Russian forces are in control of the power plant and its surrounding areas. However, there are military targets, logistical targets that each side continues to target. And the key concern, both by, I would imagine, the Russian soldiers as well as the Ukrainian forces and outside observers is that there will be some kind of miscalculation, some kind of mistake that could lead to critical damage to one of the reactors or some other aspect of the nuclear power plant responsible for the safety and the safe operation of its reactors.
Absolutely, indeed. That of course, is the big fear, that there could be a miscalculation which could, of course, lead to consequences that perhaps no one predicts. Now, lastly, at this point of time, the United Nations has said that this region of Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, it needs to be completely demilitarized. Is Ukraine on board for this suggestion?
Well, according to President Zelensky, who met yesterday with the UN Secretary General as well as the Turkish Prime Minister, Ukraine is on board with this. He did say that he would like to see a IAEA, that's International Atomic Energy Agency team, inspect the site. He said that Ukraine would be willing to facilitate that. However, it isn't clear that Russia, which is actually in control of the facility, is willing to meet the Ukrainian terms. And so that is why the UN Secretary General and the Turkish Prime Minister are trying to facilitate and broker a deal to grant access to the IAEA.
All right, we'll have to leave there. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Mark William Bishop, for joining us and getting us all those details there.
Thank you.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.